Puppy is confused from these stories. To the Grubhub, DoorDash, or any other food delivery employees, what is the strangest scenario you have had with an order? I worked for a delivery company about 6 years ago. I got an order for a single cigar. Total cost of goods about $3. Delivery fee $13.50. He lived way the hell out in the Botanies. He also tipped my like $10. Turns out he was drunk and delivery fee is less than a DUI. Honestly a baller move, and a safe one at that. The delivery instructions were to beat on the door, like you're the cops, and then roar like a T-Rex to scare my kids. I did this, but a small extremely confused lady answered the door. Apparently the husband had written those instructions for a prior delivery and had not realized delivery instructions copy over to the next delivery if not deleted. What was the elderly woman's response? I blurted out it said to do that before she could say anything. Then she laughed. My wife and I have done Uber Eats, DoorDash, and Instacart for about 2 years now. We don't have too many stories, mostly just high, drunk, or naked people answering the door. My wife is in a few Facebook groups though, and we just heard about a woman who was delivering some food into a private gated home. The gate had to be manually opened by the home owner, and he let her in no problem, but then after she delivered the food, he wouldn't let her leave. It took calling the police, them arriving, and filing a report for her to be able to leave and learn that this was the 3rd time he's done this. Uber, though, won't ban him from their service. Oh god, I just probably gave a delivery driver a story of their own tonight when they called me to clarify directions. Their number was the same area code as a spam call I got the other day that I answered and actually had a human on it and not a robot. So I assumed it was them again, and I answered the call and just said meow instead of hi. Then they asked for me by name, like the last spam call did, and I just kept saying meow meow every time he asked me something, until he was like, ma'am, this is your Postmates driver, and then I died from embarrassment. My boyfriend and I used to do grocery delivery. One time I had a woman order 33 oranges. Another time, he had someone order 24 jars of vanilla frosting. The store didn't even have enough vanilla frosting in stock to complete the order. Then 1 week later, we saw that the same man placed another order for 20 more jars of vanilla frosting. Vanilla frosting is a terribly delicious snack if you hate life. Okay, but 20 jars in a week, this man is suicidal if he's eating it. I'm praying he's a lazy cake decorator mayo. Drop off instructions said text me when you arrive and come to the side of the house. I broke my leg and I can't come downstairs, but I'll lower a backpack down to you on a rope. Your tip is in the loop on the back. Thanks. I thought it was a setup, but turned out to be legit. I thought it was amusing. Used to deliver pizza. I was 18. Brought a huge order to a house on a weekday evening where clearly a bunch of middle-aged friends were having a huge party. The door opened, a 40-something guy answered and yelled over his shoulder, "The pizza's here." Everyone was clearly trashed already. It's around 7 PM. He gives me a 1-second sign and goes back in the house. I hear him telling everyone to give up cash to pitch in for the order. Another 40-something wasted lady comes busting out past me, goes to the passenger side of a truck, then just lies the top part of her body down inside the truck on the seat, and I think falls asleep for a few minutes. I'm on the doorstep holding 10 pizzas. Door wide open. Rowdy 40 to 50-year-old's party is hopping, and the lady who has my money is asleep with her front half in the truck. I'm about to yell for someone else to help me when she gets up, then stumbles over to me. Conversation goes something like this. "Wasted lady, how much is it?" Me, $108.25. WL, staring at a wad of bills in her hands. She then shoves them all at me. "You count that." I count it. Me, "You gave me $164. WL, is that too much?" Me, "Well, I don't think so, but your bill is only $108.25. WL, "Well, you count that." Me, "Ma'am, it's $164. She stares at me a second, looks at the pizza, looks at the money, reaches into her pocket, pulls out another $10 bill, and slaps it on top of the pile of money. WL, "And there's your tip." I unloaded the pizzas and took off as fast as I could. Best tip I've ever made in my life. I drive for Uber Eats, and one time someone ordered Freshie, a healthy food/vegan place, and I saw that the order was 8 small bags of chips. Not even anything off their menu, just 8 bags of chips. Then while I was on my way to deliver it, they messaged me twice in the app. The first time they said please, and the second message was be careful. To this day I have no idea what was going on, or why they didn't go buy chips from the convenience store near their house. Many years ago I was a driver for Pizza Hut. We had someone place an order, their home address was saved to our system, but in the notes it said to deliver it to a hotel literally down the road from said home address. So I go to the hotel, knock on the door, and a dude dances in his boxers with a girl in bed peeking around to see who was at the door. 99% sure I walked into an affair encounter. I used to deliver pizzas, and one time I arrived at a house at the same time as a driver from another pizza place. We looked at each other confused for a secretary before we went to the door. Turns out they had some people over, and one of the people there really liked one restaurant over the other, so much so that they ordered a separate pizza. Had that happen to me too, except it was 3 different companies. The customers made bets on who would make it there first. It was pretty funny. They tipped all of us well. I was the first on scene. I picked up 26 chocolate chip cookies from McDonald's. The manager was pissed. Why? That's legitimate business. If they don't want people to order them, then they shouldn't sell them. I think they only prep a few at a time. I never see more than like 6. Probably had to go to the freezer and dig them out during the dinner rush. I had someone order 14 orders of cheese and crackers at my place, and I was so annoyed to go and get the cheese and scoop it into 14 cups and open all the boxes of crackers. Sometimes during a meal rush shit is way more annoying than it should be. This is one of my favorite random interactions from my time as a delivery driver for a Japanese restaurant. I was sent to this house with an order of a steak hibachi and a couple of sushi rolls that added up to something like $19.60. I like to call before I got to a place, just to give people a bit of a heads up, so by the time I got to the door it was already open. In the doorway stood a chubby kid, about 9 or 10 years old, that reminded me a lot of the kid from Bad Santa, but without the curly hair. I tell him the total as I pass off his food. He hands me a $20 bill, and with a straight face he smugly says, "Keep the change, pal." Immediately after, he closes the door, and I stood there for a second trying to process what just happened. When I got back to my car I noticed the time, and realized it was way too early for that kid to be home from school. I couldn't help but laugh at the whole situation. I wasn't even mad at getting a 40-cent tip, because this kid probably faked being sick so he could stay from school, and was probably in there watching TV, or playing video games while eating sushi, and feeling like a big shot. I know I old at that age. I got one. That one time I followed a weird middle-aged guy into his basement for a life-affirming surprise. Delivering pizzas, my attitude is that nothing can really go that wrong, so long as I drive carefully, avoid muggings, and never enter a customer's home. When I was younger and hadn't yet adopted that last rule, I delivered a proper stack of pizzas to a really nice house in a very wealthy neighborhood, where I was greeted by a classic mid-50s suburbanite guy. I had like 50 pounds of pizzas, and he was just vibrating with excitement like a little kid, asking me if I wanted to see something amazing in his basement, where the pizzas were going anyway. Yeah, it sounds like a lot of red flag, but from his vibe and the amount of pizza he'd ordered I figured he was having some kind of game night with his buddies, and was eager to show off his layout, entertainment system, bar, etc. Wealthy guys love showing the sweet toys they worked for to broke younger folks, and when you're working for tips, sometimes a new or an out a car or in-home luxury you don't care about is worth an extra $10. So I followed him into his huge house, preparing myself to express amazement at his whatever. We get down to the basement, and it was a puppy party. A true and actual puppy party. Some sort of adoption event he'd set up for his kid's b-day. Exactly as I'd expected. There was a classic rich guy basement with a full bar and pool table and wall-sized entertainment center and huge sectional couch and recliners. What I didn't expect was a gaggle of 8th grade girls playing with dozens of puppies being supervised by handlers. Every kind of puppy I could imagine. I set the pizzas down on the bar and just sat on the floor and squealed and giggled while puppies tried to eat the smell of pizza off of me, succeeding only in devouring my heart through my face. After a few minutes I stood up all teary-eyed and flushed with happiness, and the guy just grinned his understanding at me, gave me an envelope of cash, and sent me on my way. The hit of oxytocin and serotonin from those puppies still warms me years later. Duckin' puppy party, man. My life is full of knowing that can even happen.